Chapter 3 Picking a Side. Caesar had grown up in Subura, not in the hills above the city, where the wealthy lived. He understood why his poor neighbors were frustrated with the Senate. The rich didn't understand or care about their problems. When Marius died, Caesar sided with Cinna. Around this time, Caesar's father also died suddenly. Now at 16, Caesar was head of the household. He needed a job. Cinna appointed him to become Flamen Dialis, the high priest of Jupiter. The god Jupiter was the protector of Rome. Being the god's high priest was an important job indeed. Caesar had to marry a girl of noble birth, so Cinna arranged for him to marry his daughter Cornelia. As Flamen Dialis, Caesar's hair had to be cut with a bronze knife. No other kind was acceptable. Then the hair had to be buried. Caesar also wore a pointy hat made of fur. And the feet of his bed had to be covered in mud. There were more rules, 3 of which really upset Caesar. He was forbidden from riding horses. He couldn't be a soldier, and he couldn't leave the city for more than 3 nights at a time. Caesar needed more than a fur hat to bring honor to his family. It was a difficult time for a man to make a name for himself in Rome. Cinna had grown mad with power. Wealthy citizens were being murdered by angry mobs. Word came that Sulla and his forces were returning to Rome, and Cinna led his troops to meet the enemy. Cinna's troops realized they were no match for Sulla's army, so what did they do? They murdered their own commander. But Cinna's death wasn't enough to satisfy Sulla. Once more, Sulla marched on Rome for the 3rd time in 6 years. The city was ablaze with Romans fighting Romans. In troubled times such as these, the Senate sometimes elected 1 consul instead of 2. This man was called a dictator, and he held all the power. They hadn't elected a dictator in nearly 100 years. But now they did. Sulla won the job easily. Sulla had always sided with the rich. He immediately extended the power of the Senate and limited those of the popular assembly. He began clearing the city of enemies. A list of names was posted in the forum. Anyone who killed a man on the list could keep some of that man's property. The rest went to the government. Thousands were murdered. Naturally, Julius Caesar was on Sulla's list. After all, he was Marius' nephew and had married Cinna's daughter. Sulla ordered Caesar to divorce his wife immediately. When Caesar refused, Sulla became furious. No one told the dictator no. Sulla stripped Caesar of his job and his money. Fearing for his life, 19-year-old Caesar escaped the mountainside outside Rome. With Sulla's men hot on his trail, he changed location every night. Back in Rome, his family pleaded for his life. Eventually, Sulla relented. Caesar was happy to come home, but he knew at any moment his life could be at risk again. So he became a soldier and left Rome. He would not return for years.